Happy Friday. I know you cleared your calendar. You prepared for that meeting with your client, and then your client didn't show. Or they canceled last minute, asking for an exception. Oh, just this one time. And now you want to light your hair on fire because we can only handle so many clients doing this so often. And today's Aligned Business Series session is all about real life stories and how to fix this. My name is Acacia Thornton. I'm the CEO legal coach, and today that is what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you a live real story of one of my clients, designer. She goes and helps her clients in person. She does a lot of interior designing and helping them, but it doesn't matter if you're a coach, if you do virtual stuff, any type of appointments with your clients that are canceling last minute or changing things or just not showing up at all. Here's what you're going to do. So first off, why does this stuff even happen, right? And a lot of times people are like, I have a coaching contract with my clients, right? They're going to get 3 appointments. We set up the appointments, or they're every week at the same time. Like, they know the rules. Well, do they? There's so many times we have assumptions in our client relationships. We assume that because there's price for product and services, everything else is known. How to treat one another, the value of time, and of course, the prioritization goes unsaid. This may or may not be your favorite client. You may or may not be their top priority. Or maybe you're the top priority sometimes, but they have other things they're balancing. And of course, there's always life that happens that just throws stuff off track for everyone. So it's not necessarily somebody being malicious or rude, although sometimes some people just have an internal different sense of timing. Some people, like I was raised, if you're 30 minutes, if you're on time, you're 30 minutes late, kind of a thing. Like, you arrive early. But then there's others that are like, oh, I'm within my 15 minutes late. You're fashionably late, baby. It's normal to not have the same communication right up front. But that doesn't mean it's okay, especially because you're giving your time and your energy, not just to be there, but in the preparation of it, to shower that day. Did you put on pants for the meeting? That's a big deal these days. But also what you're not doing. There's a cost benefit analysis. When you give to this client, you're not giving to another one, or you're not out getting more sales, or you're not writing that blog article, you're not designing, you're not doing something in exchange for being there at this time. And this is what was happening with my client. So on to my client story, right? She is a thriving interior designer. That's actually how we met. She was at my office one day. And she travels all over the city because she needs to be there in person to see the spaces, get the vibes, meet the people, and of course, manage the contractors. And she would do this, and she shows up to the office one day 30 minutes early so she could prepare. She had traveled all the way across town. It was a Thursday afternoon, and she gets there, sets up, prepares, and the client doesn't show up for the 2 p.m. meeting. She messages them, hey, are you guys okay? Are you coming? Nothing. Does it again, nothing. Right? 20 minutes after they were supposed to be there, the client responds, hey, can we push this back 2 hours? So sorry, something came up. We're not going to make it. This wasn't the first time either. This was unfortunately a pattern with this client. And it was really frustrating to my client, because it wasn't just her lost time coming across town or her sitting there waiting the 30 minutes to get to the 2 p.m. meeting plus the 20 minutes till they communicated. It's that there was wear and tear on her vehicle, the emotional labor of staying professional and being there. She's exhausted. And this was time she wasn't spent doing something else. But there's also, she still has to give the client that meeting. She has to redo this work, redo this show up, this appointment, and go through this again, hoping the client's going to show up to that one. All the while, her time is not being paid for. There's no accountability. And yeah, there's an apology, but when the client does this over and over again, excuse me, we're live. It's live. It's live on Friday. That An apology, like they have their reasons why they chose to prioritize something else. That's their choice. They're going to keep making those choices unless there's a consequence, unless there's an outcome to help them make better decisions here. And that's exactly what the answer is. I can tell you that this and many of my clients, we use what's called a scope creep clause. Okay, so scope creep is actually something that can be used in a whole bunch of ways. Be used like this, can be used to keep your clients from extending the project for too long, extending timelines, a whole bunch of things. But I love to use the scope creep clause for two main reasons. One, you're going to say exactly what the client is and isn't allowed to do. You get to see that right up front at the top of your scope creep clause. Client may cancel or have a no-show once during the 6-month contract. After that, and here's my second favorite part, here's the consequence. Here's what happens. There's a late fee. The meeting is forfeited. Whatever the consequences are, and depending on what it is for you, because maybe it's not appointment time, maybe it's something else, you could say, hey, any last minute changes not only incur $100 fee, but they extend my delivery time by 10 days, right? So you don't have to own the client the same thing on the same timeline if they keep shifting how they're behaving. If you need them to show up, you need them to do some work, you need them to send you some information. As a contract and attorney, I need my clients to send me information or to have calls with me to build their custom contracts. Well, if they don't send that to me and the deadline for the contract is tomorrow, I obviously can't meet tomorrow's deadline. And it's not fair that I should have to stay up all night and rush because the client forgot to send me the stuff until the last minute. This is why scope creep is so powerful, is it tells the customer, hey, you can make these choices. You can continue being late. You can continue being a no-show. But if you do, there's an outcome to that. And then you can decide, is it worth whatever else you're prioritizing above this? And so that's what makes scope creep so powerful when it comes to the boundaries with our client relationships. And that's why I chose to put them into my Aligned Clients Paid with Purpose program. It's module 2. And in module 2, we walk through all the different ways that you can use a scope creep clause, not just for late appointments and missed appointments, but so many other ways, extra samples, extra modifications, just it can be used in any business, and how to quickly create them. There's just 3 fill in the blanks, and that's it. 3 fill in the blanks, and just do that every single time you want one. And you can have 7 of them in your agreements if you want. They're very, very simple. Just copy paste them in. So that's why I put that into Aligned Clients Paid with Purpose, is because it's about having the energetic boundaries we want with our clients. We want to remove the assumptions and make sure everyone understands what respect is, what the boundary is, and what happens when either party exceeds the boundary. So it's about equality. It's about mutuality. It's not a punishment. Because when you say, this is my time, and this is how I value my time, and when you're paying your client for this package, this is how that time is being valued and allocated to you. If you want to shift that, change the appointments, cancel last minute, no show, don't do your part, that's cool. But I am going to still get my energetic value exchange back for the effort I'm putting in. Because it's not just your time you're giving your clients. It's your heart space. It's your head space. And it's everything that you're giving up to be there for them. So it really is about having great client relationships. And clients, believe it or not, love this stuff. They love it because then they know what you need from them. It's not a punishment. They feel more comfortable knowing what the guidelines are because then they can make better decisions for themselves. So scope creep is how you're going to stop and prevent this. And like I said, you can choose what the outcome is. And you can also choose the trigger. Is the trigger you're late? Is the trigger you reschedule? You can have a clause for each of those things. And then what's the outcome? And let that outcome come from your heart, right? Hey, the value of my time is this. That's the way I want to be treated. Hey, whenever I do these things from my heart space, this is the energetic exchange I want for that. And let that come from your heart space, and your clients will feel it too. All right, let's get to some questions while I go ahead and put the QR code. So if you are interested in Aligned Clients Paid with Purpose, that's the website right there, ceolegalcoach.com/aligned-clients. And then let's check out the questions because I see a few in the feed. Okay, can I enforce a no-show fee if they haven't signed a contract? Okay, generally speaking, no. But it is possible if you have communicated some terms or a policy ahead of time. It's not really fair to try and enforce something against somebody that they had no ability to even know about. Now, they don't have to read your contract, right? If they sign a contract with a scope creep clause, they signed it. They've agreed to it. And it's the same with your terms and your policies if you have those for a free call with you. You can do the same that there is that, but it becomes more difficult to enforce it should they choose not to pay you or treat you the way that you wanted to if there isn't a contract because they haven't formally agreed. But yeah, I'd also, unless it's some type of a discovery call or something like that, I highly recommend never giving away value without a contract for this reason. It's just a value exchange. You don't have to even decide on payment yet, but just a value exchange matters. Your time and your energy matters, and so does your clients. I feel bad for charging for time that they didn't use. Okay, how do I shift that? This is a great one because this is part energy, right? This is part who you are because you're the one feeling bad for something they didn't use, but they did take from you. You gave something. You showed up. You put your head space and your heart space into this, and you gave without anything back. Now, just because you have a scope creep clause doesn't mean you have to enforce it. You can say, I'm going to let this one slide, but next time we'll do this. And just like a friendly reminder to them. But I wouldn't feel bad for holding your energetic space, right? Your time is valuable. Who you are is worth compensation. It is worth respect. It is worth love. And so overgiving is at risk here. If you're feeling bad for them not using you the way you showed up is kind of what it is. So I would maybe just kind of look at what it is in your heart space that is not allowing you to feel valuable, and understand that you showing up it's powerful, it's beautiful, and being there for your clients just because they chose not to honor they're the ones who said what time to be there, right? They agreed to a time that plays a part, right? Don't let your heart space become exhausted or overgive or be a people pleaser. Your business matters too, and your time. If you're giving it to somebody who's not giving you something for it back and it's part of your business, it's not great business value either. What if the client says they didn't read that part of the agreement? That is what's really risky with so many people just signing agreements these days. Anytime we sign any document, we get into any contract, we accept those terms and conditions when we purchase a product, we're saying we agree and we're legally bound to that. Doesn't matter if we read it or not. And it's the same for your clients. If they have agreed to that, they've had the full opportunity to read it, to understand it, to ask their questions, and you be there to support them and answer them. That didn't happen. That was their choice. Unfortunately for them, reading it doesn't matter if they signed it. It is still legally enforceable. Can I still charge them if the meeting was virtual and not in person? Absolutely. Absolutely, right? Back to the value exchange. It doesn't matter if you didn't have to travel 20 minutes to get to the appointment, you still showed up. You still weren't doing something else, and that has value. So absolutely, absolutely. How do I apply this when I travel for client work like flights or hotel costs? Ooh, that's okay. When you have a big travel, like you've got flights, food, you got to feed yourself, you got a hotel, you have these things. Look at it from your business perspective. What do you need to protect yourself, recoup your costs, and recoup your energy? So I would put something in the agreement that maybe says they have to give you at least 72-hour notice, or whatever notice you need to change your things. If you incur fees, like change fees, let's say it's $150 to change your flight, there should be a clause in your contract that says in the event they cancel and it needs to be moved, they're responsible for those costs. Those should not be your costs at all, because even though it's part of your value to give to them, again, there's an impact for them shifting. So letting them know ahead of time in the contract, maybe your flights and hotel costs are already built into your pricing. Maybe you just kind of have like a flat rate, but that flat rate, again, expects a certain type of behavior, a give and take, a show up to these things on time and with purpose. And yeah, so that's the way I would do it. Make sure you have enough time or notice, and then build it in that the costs are on them, whatever those change costs are, for sure. Let's see. What if I want to reschedule, but don't want them to expect it every time? Okay, yeah. What's great about having things in your contract is you get to choose whether or not you enforce them. It's up to you. I wouldn't not enforce it. I would maybe remind them, hey, this is there, but no problem to doing, changing, rescheduling this one. I'm happy to do so this time around. So that way you're letting them know there is a value that you're giving here. I'm letting you slide on this, client. I could hold you accountable and have a fee or something, but I'm going to choose not to. But do be aware, client, I don't want this to be a pattern. I don't want a habit. So next time there may be a fee incurred. Yeah. All right, all. This is a happy Friday. Next week we go live with 3 amazing topics. They are, ready? Okay, we have how to stop clients from asking for more and more changes, how to keep your clients within the timeline so they stop dragging out your projects, and how to protect your income over long-term or multi-year contracts. Because believe it or not, your clients can come along usually in 30 days or less and just terminate that contract, and you lose all the money. And that's never going to happen to you thanks to next week's step. This has been Akeisha, the CEO